On a dark and stormy night, Temperance Jade tossed and turned in her bed. Plagued with nightmares, she woke up screaming and her heart pounding. Sitting in the middle of the bed with her knees up to her chest and arms wrapped around them, she laid her cheek on her knees and cried. A soft knock sounded on the door before it opened. "Temp, are you all right?" Tessa asked. "Yes, Tessa, I'm okay. A little shaken, but okay." Tessa walked to the bed, sitting down next to Temperance, and put her arm around her shoulders. "Sweetheart, why don't we go and talk to someone about these dreams? I worry about you. What was this one about?" asked Tessa, with a soft and comforting voice that had always worked to calm her down. "This one was different," she said, furrowing her brows. Tessa studied her. She could see the fear still lingering in her beautiful violet eyes. The child she had found so long ago has grown into a beautiful, strong woman with her fiery red hair, smart mouth, and sassy attitude. The fear that scared her to the bone years ago started to creep back in. With a trembling hand, she laid hers on Temperance's. Taking a slow, deep breath to calm herself and push back her own fear, she looked at Temperance. "Tell me about the dream, and I will see if I can help." "It was in a dark, cold, damp place. I think I was underground, but I cannot be sure. The walls had water dripping down in spots, and it had this old musty dirt smell. I could barely see 3 feet in front of me, so I had to run my hand on the wall so I could have some sense of grounding. It seemed like I was walking around these dark halls forever. Out of the darkness, I heard a blood-curdling scream. I do not know what made me run towards it, but I could not stop myself. I just took off in the direction of the scream. By the time I got to where the scream came from, I stopped dead in my tracks. There in front of me was a double image of myself, except one had sun-kissed blonde hair and these beautiful ocean blue eyes, and the other had raven black hair and piercing emerald green eyes. They were being chased by this man, or at least I think it was a man." Temperance shivered, rubbing her arms, trying to get the chill out. She looked up at Tessa and said softly, "It was really creepy." "What do you mean you think it was a man?" "Well, he was tall and had coal-black hair. He was holding this staff with a skull that had glowing red eyes. Then he crouched, and the muscles under his skin churned and rippled. Sounds of cracking and breaking bones filled the silence. His skin turned into black fur. His hands and feet turned into these massive paws, and his nails grew into claws, turning into this huge black panther, and his eyes glowed red. The black-haired woman yelled, 'Run!' When they turned to run, he pounced on the blonde-haired woman's back, sinking his teeth into her shoulder, causing her to scream. She looked over to me, and just before he ripped her throat out, she cried, 'Find us, Temperance.' Then that is when I woke up screaming." Taking a deep breath and trying to still her racing heart, she laid her hand on Temp's and said, "Oh, Temp, it was just a dream, sweetheart. Why don't I make you a cup of herbal tea? You can drink it while you settle down so you can get more sleep." Feeling frustrated, she jumped to her feet and walked over to the window, looking out into the darkness, and watched the lightning dance across the sky. After taking a few minutes to try and shake the fear off that still lingered from the dream, she looked back at the woman who raised her for the last 22 years. Tessa was a lot of things to Temperance. Mother, best friend, her safe haven. Letting go of her frustration. "No, Tessa, you don't understand. This was the worst one yet. It just didn't scare me this time. I was terrified, the kind that you feel in your soul. Have you ever felt like that before?" As she watched Tessa, she noticed she was not as calm as she seemed. Her hands were laced together, causing the skin on her knuckles to turn white. "Tessa, what's wrong? Look at me." Tessa looked up at Temperance, and her heart broke. Her strong, beautiful girl looked so small and